Hi there, friends. It's Diane, the Creative Inkster. Today is Monday, May 15th, and I'm here to show you a new layout, something that I had never done before. I do love to work with vellum, so I've got some vellum cardstock on here, and some embossing, a piece of pattern paper that we're going to trim, all on a nice basic card in basic white. So I'm glad you're here to join me. Let's take a look at what we're going to play with. If you're there live, let me know you're here. It's always nice to know who's along for the ride. And when you're watching the replays, give me a little shout out so I know you were here. This stamp set, Apple Harvest, was in the fall or July to December mini catalog, I believe. And it was kind of course, it was fall, right? Apples and all of that. But like the more you look at this, the more you can see other things in it. And so it's been on my shelf to play with. I've done a few cards with it, but tonight I want to use the Thanks for Your Kindness. And then I'm also going to use some dies, which are new to me, but definitely not new in the catalog. They're called Meadow dies, and they have a matching stamp set. But in this case, I find that the die cut pieces don't specifically line up with a stamp set. If you're looking for something that lines up and it's a die cut of like a leaf or a piece of flower coming up, then Dainty Details is the perfect set for that. But the Meadow dies I like for doing just plain cutting out, which is never plain because you can always emboss them or add Wink of Stella or color them in, but I do love them for my Kit to Go classes. And there's a little tag in this set and a little butterfly and another butterfly up here. So there's a few little things you can do with this one, but I really like it and I've recently gotten it. And so this is the one I'm going to use, so tuck that aside. And there's also a lovely label in here which fits the Thanks for Your Kindness just perfectly. So we're going to use that too. So let's get that stamp out. There we go. Usually I'll take the die and put it right over the stamp set through the case, but down here it says images at 90%. Usually it's blank, but if the images on the front of the set are smaller or minimized in any way, it will tell you down there. So I knew that that wasn't going to quite be the size, but when I take it out, I can see that it's a good match. So I'm going to use that one. So here is the card and that I made on the weekend that we're going to replicate. One other thing for the embossing is we're going to use what I'm calling Basics 1, 2, 3. So these are in the online store only. They're not available in any catalog, but I think they're going to be around for a little bit. So they're out there on the online exclusives. And it's a 3-pack of standard, use them for anything kind of basic embossing folders. And I'm going to use the one I call 2, which is the circle dots. Alrighty, so let's get our supplies out, our paper supplies. And these were in the post to let you know what to cut and what sizes to cut. Here is the card base, which is 4 1/4 by 11. And we're going to score it in half at 5 1/2. And then that'll give us a tent folding card base. I don't do a lot in white. Hi Vicki, I often do a colored base and then add white to the inside or add it as a layer or something like that for stamping. But yeah, just trying something different with this one. So here we go. There's our card base, and then there's our embossed layer. And that can go right down. We can actually put that right down here first. Hi, Brenda. Thanks for popping in. I hope you guys will like this layout. It's an interestingly different one, something I haven't done before. I love coming across them when I'm doing some valuable Pinterest scrolling. I'd like to say that it's more than just that, but it's just fun, right? Sometimes we're looking for ideas and such, and then I come across a layout that I'm like, oh, I like that. I like the idea of that. It's kind of fun. So I'm going to glue that down, and I usually do use a liquid glue. I'll use a liquid glue a lot, but I do usually use it when I'm putting an embossed layer down because there's a lot of unevenness on the back of an embossed layer, and the liquid glue helps to get into the nooks and crannies. So I'll set that aside. And then I've chosen a piece of pattern paper that measures 4 inches wide by 2.5 tall. And the orientation only matters if your paper has an obvious up and down pattern. This one that I chose does not. And of course the back doesn't either. But if you had something else, you might want to think about that. So, for example, the paper that I've chosen, I think this is the last bit left out of the 4 sheets, is from Bright and Beautiful, a new 6x6 pack that has lots of stars and swirlies and balloons and that kind of pattern, but it also has some of the basic colors too. So if you like stripes or just something basic, you'll use this for something. That's the thing about it. It's not specifically for one thing. And so the back of it was kind of this pretty new, is it Freesia? Is it? No, it's the Bubble Bath. And it's got these little bubbly circles on it. So we're going to cut this guy in half. So as I mentioned, it's 4 by 2.5. And how we're going to cut it is from corner to corner. Now, one thing I noticed, and I think I just naturally did this, this is my piece that I did on the card that I did ahead of time. So I went from top left to bottom right, and so my triangle goes on the paper this way. I'm going to try and do it the other way. I think it's just natural for me to cut this way. This time I'm going to try cutting this way. And it doesn't flip over, just so you know, because I tried that. There we go. So we're going to go from top right, so here's our 4-inch, top right to bottom left. And we'll get just a little bit different orientation on this one. There we go. Don't need you in the way. So when you can see the 2 points along the track of your paper trimmer, you can go ahead and slice it. So you see, this one will go this way and this way, but they don't necessarily flip so that you could move it without using the back side of the paper. It's a whole geometry thing I didn't get in school, so I'm not going to get it today. All right, I think, am I done? I'm done with that. Yep. For now, for a second. Okay, so we've got these 2 pieces. We've got an embossed piece. Let's glue these guys down in place and then have that ready to go. And it looks a bit like it's giving it corners like you would on an old photograph in an old photograph album. But it's really nice for giving it a little bit of layering and going simple because you're already cutting it at 4 inches. You don't have any funky triangle cuts to make. And then we'll do this part in the bottom. Now there's nothing to say you can't put it part way through or trim it again. You can get as funky as you like. I'm keeping it simple tonight. Here we go. If you're a mother, I hope you had a lovely Mother's Day weekend and enjoyed it with your children and or grandchildren. Or maybe you're going to celebrate on another day. My family's not about the day. It doesn't have to be celebrated on the day. We're very good about making it happen when it works for us, and I like that about what we do. All right, so then the next piece, as you can see on this one, is to put the vellum down. But here's the thing. When you put vellum down with glue dots or liquid glue or dimensionals, you see it through the vellum. You could put a whole sheet of adhesive sheet behind it and you wouldn't see it, but that's a lot more adhesive than you probably need. So what I typically do is take my focal point, glue it to the vellum, and then flip it over, and I can see where I can put adhesive on my vellum to then adhere it to my card. So yeah, my sides are flipping up here. That's fine. The card's not going to fall apart. It's nicely glued together. So for this branch, I'm going to cut it twice, and I'm going to use the adhesive sheets because I have the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine right beside me here. And I need the... Oh, I thought I could, yeah, I could have used the smaller machine. because I only have these two. The smaller version of the Stampin' Cut and Emboss cuts anything with up to a 3-inch width, anything wider than that, and I had it in my head that I had to do my embossing, but I do not because that is already done. So let's see, what will we do? So when I put these adhesive sheets down, they're double-sided adhesive, and I tend to cut them just a little bit smaller than I need. Sorry, I had to go grab another pair of scissors. Just smaller than the paper I'm cutting into, so that the adhesive doesn't squish out into my acrylic plates on the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. That wouldn't be good. So I'm going to peel the backing off and then just press this down. Then I'm going to cut into the other side of it. So I've put adhesive sheet on this side. I'm going to flip it over and cut into the side that doesn't have any. And then, let's see, would this piece do it? Yep, see, when I cut in, that's going to be just perfect. So it's great to use the ends. So these adhesive sheets come in packages of 6-inch by 12-inch. And they have 3 perforations. 12 of them for $15, I believe, is the amount. So we're going to do it in the green. So we're set up to do that. We're also going to cut just the top part out of this bubble bath. So I don't need quite so much because I'm just going to cut the top part of it out. And the reason for that is to have the flower parts in a different color, and that's how I get 2 colors out of it. Hi Val, thanks for joining us. So let's peel off this with my not so long nails. I know if you fold it, that kind of helps a little bit. There we go. You just have to get it started. And so that is the blank piece. There's no sticky on there. It's sort of the waxy piece. And then this piece here, like I said, I like to keep it within the confines of the paper so that it doesn't squish all out. And people say, oh, your adhesive sheets don't stick well. And I can tell you that the best thing you can do is this. When you put your adhesive sheets on, run your bone folder over it, and that'll help adhere it. And I didn't do it on this one because I got talking. So just a suggestion from experience. Take the second or two to do that. So I'm going to run it through. So as I mentioned, I've got the adhesive sheet on that side. Going to flip it over, and I'm going to put the die to cut in on the other side. So we'll run it through once in the green. This is soft seafoam, a color I rarely use, although I love it with Night of Navy. Okay, so there's one die cut. You don't have to use the adhesive sheets. You can use liquid glue or however else you want to add your adhesive on. I just found in playing with this that it was just a lot faster if I had adhesive sheet. And I have them, so hey, why not use them? Now, you can keep this because you still got a bit you can use out of it. So I'll put it over in my bin there. And now I'm going to run this through just the top part. So I don't care that it cuts the rest of it off because I'm just doing the top. Just want the flowers. Pull this guy through. Put that on. Ooh, adhesive everywhere. Or, no, I guess it's not adhesive. It's like static cling everywhere. There we go. And that's just the top cutout. Like that. So I'll put that in my bin. And you can take your pokey tool, or if you have your take your pick tool, you can stick that in there like that. There we go. All right. And so you can do this a couple of different ways. The advantage of doing this with the adhesive sheets is you can actually get that whole piece nicely down in place. But I think I want some of the green to show through. So let me show you what I'm going for here. Get this out of the way before I poke myself with it. So what I want to do with my, I'll bring this in so you can maybe see the contrast of the colors a little better. So with my soft seafoam is I want these pretty pink flowers to go over top, but I don't want all the stems, so I'm just going to trim them off. Just a little snip. And this is kind of all one piece, so I just need to get in here and snip the stem there and here. So you can do this with any dies. Probably do the same thing with a punch if you have a punch with floral images on it. So now I have the 3 and that other piece that's scooted away. There it is. Come on back. That piece there. Okay. And this is a lot easier than the liquid glue. So peel the backings off. Now I've got a sticker. Just line it up over top. And press it in place. Now this would look really good with blue and soft seafoam, I think. So the more contrast in color, light to dark, that you have, probably gives it a really nice look. Here we go. Get this guy in here. Oop, oop, oop. There we go. Press that guy down. And oh, I must have had another piece. Oh, there's another little pink top piece that I didn't cut off. So let me grab that out of the beside me bin. I must have cut that piece off when I was not focusing. Oh, one of them's gone missing. Anybody see it on the table? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh, there it is, over here. Over here in the corner. Looks like a bit like a Christmas light bulb. All right, move that out of the way. Peel the back off that. Scissors can help you with that too, if you don't have a nail to use. There we go. And now we have a two-tone colored die cut. Fun. All right, we're going to stick this on the vellum. So the vellum is 4 1/4 by 2 1/2. And that's just the size I chose is based on the die cut that I'm working with. So we're going to peel off our backing from the soft seafoam and then place that on the vellum, and then we'll know where our adhesive goes on the back of the vellum. So sometimes this is in a couple of pieces because it's perforated the adhesive sheets, so it's easier to get them down and to peel the pieces off. So if you do have a long one, then sometimes you get that perforation in the middle. And see, that is really easy. Slick as molasses. Well, I guess that's maybe not the right word, but that's slick because you don't have to worry about liquid glue. All right, and I did die cut a couple of these just to make my life go simpler. Sometimes when I have a label die out, I'll do 3 or 4 of them and stick them in the stamp case, and then I've got them ready to roll. We just need a little block for our thanks for your kindness. And we're using fresh freesia, which is one of the colors in this paper. It's fresh freesia and bubble bath. Oh, a little bit wonky. Okay, I got to work on lining that up a bit better. So let's get a scrap piece here, and we'll do a little practice run. I may not have put the sticker on straight. Does that ever happen to you? Sometimes I'm just too quick, and yes, that's what happened. So what I'm lining up is the bottom of my stamp with the line on the black line here on the grid paper. And I noticed that it was, I put it this way, but it came out a little bit up to the right, so I'm going to pull it down to the left a little bit. So we'll go down to the left a wee bit. And look at that. Perfect. So we just have to remember that when we go into stamp here. I probably could have seen that. Oh, look at that. Sweet. Perfect. Tuck that out of the way. Now, to get this down, we want to put our adhesive where the flowers are on the back. In this case, I can go ahead with my liquid glue. and put little dots. I don't want it to squeeze out too much, but I'm putting it back here, and then you could, if it was a bigger shape, you could use dimensionals or something, but the liquid glue is certainly going to hold it in place. And I tend to just put little dots. That way, if it does squish out, it's not a whole bunch. I'm not even squeezing the barrel here. I'm literally dotting it out. So I'll give a little squeeze when I know it's dried out a bit. And there we go. That piece is a little big there. All right. Get rid of that. And we'll stick this down the middle. There we go. We'll give it a second to dry. And while it's doing that, we'll add a few dimensionals to our greeting. I think 3. I found with this size of this greeting, often I'll put 2, but it's a bit wide and that's going to gap in the middle, and I don't want that to happen. Get rid of the stuff. And tie a bow. Last thing to do is tie a bow with some linen thread. I'm going to double it, so I know it's about 6 inches is what I need. I just know that from years of bow tying, and it's my new part-time job. So I'm taking 2 strands that are about 6 inches long, and with them together. Now, if you find that your your linen thread is all kinky like that, here's what I do, is I take my bone folder, and holding my bone folder straight, I just run this along it. It's kind of the opposite of when you used to curl ribbon with scissors. You're just going to hold it straight and run it along the edge, and it kind of mostly comes out of that huge kink. And then I'm going to tie the bow with the 2 strands together, and that gives me a double bow. And it just makes it a little bit fuller. And this is going to go on here with a glue dot. So pretty, such pretty colors. I think this makes a really nice thank you card. So I had a fun weekend with my Silver Sisters, which is my stamping friends across the country who are also Silver and Silver Elite demonstrators. And we support one another working together. And one of the things we do is have a day for all of our team members. So all in, there's I think 16 or 18 of us in the group. And we have over 300 demonstrators under us. And we hold an event 3 times a year. And it was this Saturday, all day long, all kinds of presentations. We each do a presentation slot. Some of them are recorded, some of them are live. We do prizes, and it's just a fun day. We teach our teams different things, and it's an exclusive event for being a team member. So if you're ever interested in joining Stampin' Up! And buying the starter kit, well, I'd love to have you on my team. You get all of our current content from these events, plus everything we have ever posted there in the last 4 years or so that we've been doing it. All right, so this is my card made tonight using this technique, flipping these on the opposite side. So I hope you like this layout and you'll give it a try. And thank you for popping in and spending a few minutes with me tonight. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the sunshine and the warm weather we're having, at least in Ontario, tomorrow. I'll see you, I hope, on Wednesday. Bye.